Okay, good. He's going to be right back on, Mr. Anderson, and do us.
Okay.
Okay, back on the record. Are we ready to proceed on cause 649-533, State of Texas versus Jeffrey C. Anderson? Mr. Valachek.
Yes, Your Honor, he's on now.
All right, and are we ready to proceed on cause 635-473, State of Texas versus Marcus A. Vasquez? Mr. Slimane.
Yes, Your Honor.
And are we ready to proceed on cause 661833, State of Texas versus Storm C. Gracia? And I don't even have the attorney now. Who's the attorney for Mr. Gracia?
Leslie Sahonovich, we're ready, Judge.
Let's see. Mr. Skanowitz, sorry.
Oh, Sakanowicz, not Sahonovich, sorry. Didn't mean to confuse you.
At least I can pronounce it. Miss Benavides still goes. Okay. This is cause number 649-533, State of Texas versus Jeffrey C. Anderson, represented by Michael Valachek. Cause 635-473 and 636-512, State of Texas versus Marcus A. Vasquez, represented by Mr. Nathan Slimane. Cause number 661-833, State of Texas versus Storm C. Gracia, represented by Mr. Les Sakanowitz. Gentlemen, I'm looking at a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference that purports to have each of your signatures and your attorney's signatures on the back. Mr. Anderson, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. And Mr. Valachek, as attorney for Mr. Anderson, is this your signature on the back?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Vasquez, in cause 635-473, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Slimane, as attorney for Mr. Vasquez, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. In cause 661-833, Mr. Gracia, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Skanowitz, as attorney for Mr. Gracia, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. It purports to have your signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Anderson, is this your signature on this document also?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Vasquez, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Gracia, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. By signing this document, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys. So that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Mr. Anderson?
Yes, Judge.
Is that correct, Mr. Vasquez?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is that correct, Mr. Gracia?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Valachek, as attorney for Mr. Anderson, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Slimane as attorney for Mr. Vasquez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Sakanowitz as attorney for Mr. Gracia.
Yes, he's quite competent.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Vasquez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Gracia.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Valachek, as attorney for Mr. Anderson, does the state fully comply with discovery for you on this case?
It has, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Slimane as attorney for Mr. Vasquez.
I believe so, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Sakanowitz as attorney for Mr. Gracia.
To the utmost, yes.
Thank you. Let's see what we're doing here. Mr. Anderson, in cause 649-533, the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Anderson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead, state.
6 months, Bexar County Jail, probated for 12 months, $500 fine, court cost, 48 hours of community service, and we asked the court to probate all of these hours. DWI education, victim impact panel, CATS NIP, and Smart Start mobile device for 6 months.
And Mr. Valachek, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. And the reason for Smart Start is he does not have a vehicle.
Okay. Mr. Anderson, in cause 649-533, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I find you guilty. I said 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, a $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, probating all those. DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, community lines for traffic safety new intervention program, and Smart Start mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for 6 months. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Anderson?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
I'd like Mr. Anderson. Thank you, Mr. Valachek.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay, Mr. Vasquez, in cause 635-473 to the charge of false reporting to police officer. How do you plead, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Vasquez?
Checking the system right now, Your Honor.
Take your
There
time.
is, Your Honor. It's 12 months deferred adjudication, $300 fine, court cost, 24 hours community service, and we are going to take into consideration cause number 636512.
Okay, let me double check. And defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
And what kind of case is 636512?
Same offense, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Vasquez, in cause 635-473, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of false reporting to a police officer. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. This has a $300 fine plus court cost, 24 hours community service, taking into consideration cause 636512, which is granted, and it shall be dismissed. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Vasquez?
From the defense, Your Honor, yes, we would request if we could transfer this probation to Lubbock County, Texas. And Mr. Vasquez is currently on probation in another matter out of Guadalupe County. I have the cause number. Respectfully, we would ask if we could run this matter concurrent with that case.
Do I have the authority to run these things concurrent with cases in other counties?
I don't know.
I've never heard of that before, but I mean, do me, okay, I can always come back and do that, and I'd be happy to do that if it's legal. So you go do the research and find out if it's legal, and then come back and we'll run it by the state. As far as I'm concerned, that's okay with me.
And
Very
Judge,
good.
just to interject, you do have that authority as long as you're the second one going. The second one always has the authority to run things
Come
concurrently.
in.
What is it, a misdemeanor? Where is it and what is it?
My understanding from Mr. Vasquez is that it's a,
Don't tell me, let me guess, false report to police officer in some other county. That was a joke, Mr. Vasquez.
Judge, I believe it's a hit and run felony. He's on probation for 5 years. And that case has also already been transferred to Lubbock
Yeah,
County.
we'll see what happens, but I'll be happy to put it down. Shannon, do you think that'll work?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, give me a felony cause number, and obviously you don't have it in front of you now, probably.
I do have it in front of me, Your Honor.
Go ahead, shoot.
It's 21-0092-Charlie Roger-Alpha.
And what county is this in?
This is out of Guadalupe County, the 2nd 25th Judicial District Court.
Okay, this case will run concurrent, if it legally can, with 21-0092-C as in Charlie, R as in Romeo, A as in Alpha, and Guadalupe County. Fair enough?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, good luck, Mr. Vasquez. Thank you, Mr. Slimane.
Thank you, Your
Thank
Honor.
Mr. Gracia, let's see what we got here. Does this start out as DWI first, or are we reducing it?
It's going to be a reduction, Your Honor, from, it's a first, but it's being reduced.
Okay, it's you're say you're going to waive the enhancement greater than 1.5. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth or make your deals for you. I just don't know what it is.
No, that's fine.
Paperwork, it says DWI first, and on the other paperwork, it starts out as DWI greater than 1.5. So I just need to know what you're doing with the greater than 1.5.
Yes, Judge, we're waiving the enhancement. I just have a question for Mr. Sakanowicz. Is your client accepting the last offer? I sent you an email.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I want to be sure of that. So, yes, Judge, we're ready.
Okay, State, go ahead and make your motion formally.
Yes, Your Honor, and I'm looking at the information right now.
So State is moving to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement. Is that correct?
Yes, the state moves to waive the enhancement paragraph, Judge, and
And
proceed
no
with the Class
objection,
D.
no objection from the defense, that will be granted. So that we're going forward on DWI first. Everybody agree?
Yes.
Correct.
All right. So Mr. Grassi, on cause 661-833 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense, how do you plead, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
And is there an agreement for Mr. Gracia?
Yes, Your Honor. $500 fine, and we ask the court to probate $300 due to the defendant's financial situation. Court costs, 16 months deferred adjudication, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, Smart Star mobile device for half the term, and Your Honor, the state recommends a catnip treatment in this case.
Your Honor, when you're ready, I'm ready to respond.
Okay, respond away.
Okay, Your Honor, I think in this instance, I would also like to get 24 hours credit for my client for the community service hours because he's fully vaccinated right now. So, and I'd like to get 24 hours. The other courts are giving such relief to defendants. And the other thing is, but the catnip is not necessary. This is not a problem with Mr. Gracia. He's a young man, and I don't believe that program is necessary, and plus the cost of the catnip. And my understanding was that the ADA was going to let the court decide on that issue.
All right. State be on notice that even though Mr. Sakanowicz is a silver-tongued rascal, in future DWI cases, I'm going to reject plea bargains that don't have at least a $500 fine. This one is 500 probate, 300. If anybody's got enough money to have cars and enough money to buy enough drinks at the rate that drinks cost these days, they can afford to pay a fine. So They're going to let this one go through, no problem, plus 10 for Mr. Sakanowitz and Mr. Gracia. As far as the CATSNP, we're going to go ahead and order CATSNP because it's my standard operating procedure that everybody could use an outpatient drug alcohol program, especially people that get arrested for having greater than a 0.15 on a DWI arrest. So nice try on that one, Mr. Sakanowitz, but no cigar. The rest of it, you're doing good. So Mr. Gracia in clause 661-833, the state having waived the 0.15 enhancement, no objection from the defense, which is granted. Court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated first offense. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 16 months deferred adjudication probation. It says a $500 fine, probating $300 of that plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile at 4 blows a day for 8 months, which is half the term of the probation. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Gracia? We're
Yes,
going
Your
to
Honor.
recall any pretrial bad things I did on bond conditions.
Yes, Your Honor. Also I was wondering whether he could get the 24 hours credit for the community service because if he's fully vaccinated.
A shot?
Yeah.
That's what you want me to do?
Yes.
Is Mr. Gracia a military veteran?
No, he's not, Judge.
What do you do in the real world, Mr. Gracia?
I am a server trying to go back to school, Your Honor.
And what do you want to do in school?
Well, honestly, I wanted to be a lawyer.
Oh, we all have crosses we must bear. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to probate 24 hours just because you're his attorney and for no other reason, but good for getting a shot.
And I have one more request, Judge.
Oh, go ahead. Make my day.
I emailed it to Patricia. I wanted to see if we could waive the DPS fees. I filed the motion. He filed the motion. I also sent it to Patricia.
And he was on pretrial bond conditions with a GPS. Is that what you're telling me?
I believe he was, yeah.
All right. And you need to get with Pat, and I don't know who exactly you need to get with, but she needs to fill out an indigency form so we can see if he's indigent. Very few people that can afford to have cars and get enough problems to get DWIs are indigent by legal definition. But if he is, that's something I'll be happy to consider.
Okay, Judge. All right.
I will send it through Adobe Sign to Mr. Gracia. Okay, I'll send it to.
Okay, thank you.
Send it back.
Thanks, guys. Y'all are dismissed. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, are we ready on 647-967 State of Texas versus Amber E. Naranjo? Mr. Castro.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. This is called 647-967 State of Texas versus Amber E. Naranjo. This is a first amended motion to revoke community supervision. I first have two documents for Mr. Naranjo and Mr. Castro to identify their signatures on for me. The first one is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference. Mr. Naranjo, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Castro, as attorney for Mr. Naranjo, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Next document I have is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked, quote, is a revocation of the defendant's community supervision, and the defendant has the right to appeal the court's actions revoking the community supervision, but not the underlying conviction, unquote. Is this your signature on this document, Mr. Naranjo?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on this document, Mr. Castro, as attorney for Mr. Naranjo?
Yes, Judge.
My understanding is that this is going to be an uncontested motion to revoke community supervision. Is that accurate, Mr. Castro?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Naranjo, in clause 647-967 on the first amended motion to revoke community supervision, how do you plead, ma'am?
Good, sir.
Would that be true defense?
Yes, true.
Okay. Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties of the status of Ms. Castro's probation, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Naranjo has done well with reporting. We last saw her on July 8th of 2021. She's paid $110 towards her fees. She has a balance of $1,132 and is delinquent $263. We have no proof of completion of any of her 24 hours of community service. She's had 5 positive drug tests, 3 of which have been alcohol on the Smart Start mobile device, 2 for marijuana. We have no proof of enrollment or completion of DWI education, victim impact panel, or CATSNP. She's currently testing on Smart Start mobile at 4 times a day. And she's had 3 high bracs to date, registering at 0.026, 058, and 025. She has 1 prior arrest for a theft, 100 to 750. Her officer is recommending that her Smart Start mobile be increased to 6 times per day and that she shows substantial compliance within 30 days. This is her first violation report, first motion to revoke.
On probation, May 12th, 2021. So you got May, June, July, basically 3 months of probation so far?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, we're off to a big start. Hey, Ms. Naranjo, if I give you a UA today, you're gonna be positive for marijuana or something else creative?
No, I should be clean.
Okay. Defense, what are your requests, please?
Excuse me, Your Honor.
What are you requesting us do?
I'm requesting that we follow probation's recommendation. In addition, I would ask that we allow the 6 test to go back down to 4 if she stays within compliance for 60 days.
And state, what's your recommendation, please?
Your Honor, the state is in agreement with probation's recommendation.
I just have one question for Mr. Rondo. Are you gonna stop drinking and stop smoking marijuana with your buddies?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good answer. Am I correct in assuming you have not started the Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, which is our outpatient drug course? You haven't gone to any classes or done any of that yet?
Yes, I did the DWI education and the victim impact.
Okay, but we call it CATSNP, but it means Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program. It's an outpatient drug program. Have you done any of that yet?
The CATSNP one, no, I haven't registered yet.
And Mr. Rondo, are you working, going to school? You got kids? What's going on with you when you're not violating my probation?
I actually do have a job lined up for the HB warehouse.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for a start date, which I believe I have already gotten, but I'm not able to check on my emails because I got arrested.
Okay, Mr. Rondo, 647-967, the court accepts your plea of true to all conditions on the motion to, let me rephrase that. On the first amended motion to revoke community supervision, I deny the state's motion to revoke your community supervision, order you continued on probation with all prior requirements with no sanction at this time, although I have the authority to put you in jail for 30 days to get your attention. Will that be necessary?
No.
Oh, another good answer. Altering and amending your conditions, modifying your Smart Start mobile from 4 blows a day to 6 blows a day within 24 hours. Now, that being said, once you show me a 30-day period of time where you don't miss any blows at 6 blows a day and you don't get any high bracs for alcohol, I'll crank you back down to 4 blows a day. If you do that, I won't know you've done it. You gotta let your lawyer know, he'll let me know, I'll get it substantiated or confirmed through probation and we'll crank you back down.
Okay.
I'm gonna also add weekly UAs. Show me 4 clean weekly UAs in a row and I'll put you back on monthly UAs and take you off of that. Susan, I want to crank her up. She hadn't even started the basic CATSNP course. How about we replace that with intensive outpatient? Now we've got marijuana and alcohol to deal with. Does that sound like something that's reasonable?
Yes, we can do that. So you want to waive CATSNP and
Aren't they, don't they cover the same thing or not?
yes, so waive CATSNP and add IOP.
Correct. And then I want substantial compliance in all other areas within 10 days. You're way behind on money. Well, you're not way behind. You're only $263 behind on money. Any of these programs you haven't registered for yet, you need to be registered for them within 10 days. You may have already done DWI Ed and Victim Impact Panel, but we don't have proof of it. Have you done those?
Yes, I have the certificates.
Just make sure that your probation officer gets those and get registered for the Community Alliance for Traffic Safety Intensive Outpatient Program. And they get all that done with, just register on all these courses within 10 days for the ones you haven't done. You may not start within 10 days, but you'll be registered, you know what you're doing, and just catch up on your monies. And other than that, you need to start doing community service hours. Looks like you haven't done those that I know of. Maybe you've done them and I don't know about it.
Okay.
And other than that, you win. Mr. Castro has saved you. It won't happen again. Enjoy this day, because the next time you're back, you're going to have a really bad day probably.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Castro, anything further on your side?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Good luck, Mr. Ronho. Thank you, Mr. Castro.
Thank you.
Ms. Naranjo, you'll be getting an email from your officer, probably about the time that you're getting out of jail with your conditions. You're gonna need to sign those and send those back. And your officer should also give you your new testing times for the Smart Start Mobile.
Okay.
Okay, if they're not in your email box by the time you get out, call your officer.
Okay. I just have a question. Do you know when I'm gonna be getting out, more or less?
We have no control over that. The judge will send in the paperwork, and then it's up to the jail as far as when they can get you out.
Okay.
It's 4:30. This will be sent in tonight at some point, so the clerks will get at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, and that's when the clock will start running. Okay, so hopefully
Okay.
you'll be out tomorrow. All
Okay.
right.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I've got cause number 649-199 and 655-842, State of Texas versus Michael Casanova, represented by Mr. Shannon Locke. It just seemed like the other day when Mr. Casanova was entering pleas on these cases and I was waiving his scram from pretrial. Is that not true?
It was true, Judge, and I feel particularly bad. So he was on the electronic monitor, I believe, and blowing in. He wants to be on scram. So he has a newborn child. He's a plumber. He was, and I think if we looked at these missed tests, they're all him oversleeping. I remember what that was like to have that newborn. He wants to get back to the newborn. You have his attention, absolutely, Judge, 100%. He had it before too, and he actually called my office and said, "Hey, can I get this modified to scram?" And before I could get the motion to modify in.
Well, I like the way he's thinking. We're going in the right direction. Let's do this formally. This is called 649-199 and 655-842, State of Texas versus Michael Casanova. Clause 649-199 is a motion to revoke community supervision, and clause 655-842 is a motion to revoke community supervision. Okay. On both these cases, both 649-199 and 655-842, Mr. Casanova and Mr. Locke, I'm looking at documents that are titled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference. There are actually two documents, one for each case. Is this your signature on both these documents, Mr. Casanova?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Locke, as attorney for Mr. Casanova, are these your signatures on both these documents?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next have two documents, one for each case, entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked, quote, is a revocation of the defendant's community supervision, and the defendant has a right to appeal the court's actions revoking the community supervision, but not the underlying conviction. This applies to both cases. There are two documents, one for each. Are these your signature on each of these documents, Mr. Casanova?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Locke, as attorney for Mr. Casanova, are these your two signatures, one on each document?
Yes,
For each
Your Honor.
case. Thank you. Okay, let's start with 649-199. My understanding is this is an uncontested motion to revoke community supervision. Would that be accurate, Mr. Locke?
That is accurate, Your Honor.
Mr. Casanova, and clause 649-199 on the motion to revoke community supervision, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty.
True or not true, I guess? So true, I guess?
Yes, true.
All right, thank you. We'll say true with an explanation, and then you can explain whatever it is going on here. Okay, Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties, and I assume both these cases are probably similar in why we're here, so I'll let you explain all that. But in 649-199, with the status of Mr. Casanova's probation is.
Yes, sir. In both cases, everything was adjudicated the guilt, the same, and we have the same violations. The only difference is there's a little bit of fees, which I will go over the difference. Mr. Casanova has only been on probation about 3 weeks. So reporting is good. He's not yet made any payments. He has a balance of $1,315 and is delinquent $145. We have no record of any of his 48 hours community service having been completed, and no proof of enrollment or completion of DWI education, victim impact panel, or CATSNP. He's currently on Smart Start testing at 4 times a day. And in the time that he's been on probation until now, he has had 11 skip tests. His criminal history includes an obstruction of highway, failure to report, highway damage, evading arrest, and then these 2 cases in which he is currently on probation for. His officer is recommending that he be moved over to a SCRAM device in each case. And on case number 655842, the only difference is that on the monies, he only has a balance of $20, which is for the drug testing fee.
And Mr. Locke, what are you requesting?
Not really questions, Your Honor. Mr. Casanova does he wants to succeed on your probation. He wants to be on the SCRAM device, and he did call my office asking me to modify his. He realized that he'd missed. He believed it was 7 tests, and he realized he'd missed those. He had overslept, and he just wasn't able to get up. And so he knows he's not going to be drinking. He works as a plumber. He's supporting his newborn child and his significant other. He frankly is at fault for working too much, probably, and attending to that newborn. And so we're just asking that you put him on SCRAM, Judge.
Ms. Gross, what outpatient drug course did we order from Mr. Casanova originally? Just normal CATSNP?
Yes, DWI education, victim impact panel, and CATSNP.
State recommendation, please.
Your Honor, we believe that this defendant does need to be supervised, so we are in agreement with probation's SCRAM recommendation, and in addition, we would ask for a 0 tolerance as a condition.
As soon as they go on probation in this court, they're on 0 tolerance. Everybody. But I'll be happy to say that if it makes you feel better.
And he certainly understands that, Judge.
Yeah. And in that right, Mr. Locke, you've been with us for many years. Would you not say that there's pretty much 0 tolerance on anything?
Always 0 tolerance.
All right. Mr. Casanova, on cause 649-199, the court accepts your plea of true to all conditions on the motion to revoke community supervision with an explanation. I deny the state's motion to revoke your probation, or you continued on probation with all prior requirements. How long have you been in jail? 2 days, 3 days?
I've been here for just about 2 days.
He's got 2 days credit, Your Honor.
Okay. Altering, amending, adding SCRAM cam ASAP. I'm not sure what the immediacy of that is going to be, but as soon as the SCRAM cam, which is the ankle bracelet, is active, he can turn in his Smart Start mobile device. In the meantime, he still needs to use the Smart Start mobile device. I'm going to add weekly UAs with the understanding once he shows me 4 clean weekly UAs in a row, I'll take him off of that, put him back on monthly. I'm waiving the original CATSNP course and adding Community Alliance for Traffic Safety Intensive Outpatient. We're dealing with 2 DWIs with a prior obstruction of a highway. So obviously, we probably have much of a problem with making decisions about drinking and driving than we are just with drinking, but we'll try to address those as we can. I want substantial compliance in all areas within 10 days. Anything he hadn't already done or registered for, he needs to be registered for within 10 days. He may not actually start the programs in that time, but he needs to be registered for them. The state wants it to be zero tolerance on top of my normal zero tolerance. Well, zero tolerance, state. Hope you're feeling warm and fuzzy about that. If you notice where Mr. Casanova is right now, you will probably understand what zero tolerance really means. Okay. That's all I got. Susan, what did I miss?
And then, Judge, if I could just ask, if we could put a 3-day waiting period on that Scram device, that way he won't be waiting for the Scram device while he's in custody. And he'll continue to use that Smart Start mobile device until he's out, until he gets it put on Monday. Or sometimes they'll wait it at the
I
jail.
was gonna give him 10 days to get the Scram device because he can't go get that till he gets the referral from his officer.
Awesome. Great. I should be quiet.
Let's say Scram Cam within 10 days. Is that okay, Shannon?
Perfect. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
And in the meantime, he just uses that Smart Start mobile.
Yes, sir.
Assume you still have. All right. That's for 649-199. Anything further from the state of the defense on 649-199?
No, Your Honor.
In cause 655-842 on the motion to revoke community supervision. Mr. Casanova, how do you plead, sir?
Let's see.
I assume the same thing as last time, true to all with an explanation. Would that be accurate?
Yes, sir.
All right.
That's right.
And Susan, the only issue between the two different cases is that one is more money has been paid on one than the other. Is that kind of the difference?
The case that we just completed, that one has all the fees. The only fee assessed on this case, because you ran them concurrent, is a $20 UA fee. That's
Okay.
standard for every case placed on probation.
They still run concurrent, so that's not a problem. So anyway, everything else is basically the same. So if I order the same revisions of his probation, that would be good. Everybody's
Yeah.
happy with that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
So basically, we're doing exactly the same thing on 655-842 as we did on 649-199. Accept the defendant's plea of true to all conditions on the motion to revoke probation with an explanation. I deny the state's motion to revoke his probation, order to continue on probation with all prior requirements, altering amending conditions pursuant to his request, and I would have ordered it anyway. Add Scram Cam within 10 days. And continue to use a Smart Start mobile device, which I'm sure is set at 4 blows a day, and just leave it at 4 for now until he gets Scram installed. And once the Scram is active, he can take off the Smart Start mobile and turn it in. Add weekly UAs. Once he gets 4 clean weekly UAs in a row, we can take him off of that. He'll be back on monthly. Waive basic CATSNP course and convert that into intensive outpatient CATSNP course. Substantial compliance in all areas within 10 days, meaning he needs to be registered for all classes and any other programs within 10 days. He may not start them within 10 days, but he'll be registered for them so he knows what's coming. And the state requests zero tolerance. So zero tolerance. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Casanova and 655-842?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing further.
Mr. Casanova, I'm not a big preacher on these things, but you got a drinking issue, and 3 DWIs in a lifetime is a lot. And now I've got you on basically 2 years over your head for if I wanted to revoke you and put you in jail, and I don't really want to do that, but you got to stop drinking. I know that's easy for me to say and hard for you to understand. You need to go home and look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm not going to drink anymore. And at the very least, until your probation's over, follow that guidance. In the real world, when you get out and you're back on your own and you don't have any restrictions, drink all you want, but don't drive. The next DWI you get is going to be a felony. It's going to be a life changer. So I've preached enough. Mr. Locke, I'm sure, has already told you all these things. So good luck. We want you to succeed. But if you don't, I'll see you again. Okay? You don't want to see me again.